These are the saddest Scooby Doo episodes ever made, starting with one that literally erases everything the gang ever built together. In Season 2, Episode 26 of Scooby Doo Mystery Incorporated, Come Undone doesn't just end the series. It destroys every relationship and memory the characters fought to create. What happens when everything your favorite characters fought for gets completely wiped out? This grand finale forces the gang to face the evil entity that's been manipulating Crystal Cove from the beginning. But defeating this cosmic horror comes at a price nobody expected. The evil entity doesn't just threaten the gang, it literally unravels reality itself. Everything they've experienced, every friendship they've built, every moment of character growth gets erased when the timeline resets. Fred forgets his feelings for Daphne. Velma loses her relationship with Shaggy. The deep bonds between all 5 friends just vanish like they never existed. The episode shows the gang saying painful goodbyes to each other, knowing their memories will be wiped clean. Years of shared adventures and emotional connections mean absolutely nothing when reality restarts. The victory feels hollow because the people who achieved it won't even remember fighting for it. But losing your memories is nothing compared to watching your best friends turn on each other. In Season 2, Episode 1 of Scooby Doo Mystery Incorporated, The Night the Clown Cried shows what happens when the Mystery Inc. gang becomes completely estranged. After secrets and lies tear the group apart, they're forced to reunite when the crybaby clown starts terrorizing Crystal Cove. The gang isn't just dealing with a monster, they're dealing with broken trust and hurt feelings. Everyone's keeping secrets from each other, and those secrets have poisoned their friendships. Fred's obsessed with traps, Velma's hiding her relationship with Shaggy, and Daphne feels left out of everything. The crybaby clown becomes a symbol of their collective pain. What makes this episode devastating is watching characters who used to be inseparable struggle to work together. They can barely look at each other, let alone function as a team. The episode proves that sometimes the scariest thing isn't a ghost or demon, it's losing the people who matter most to you. Speaking of broken relationships, wait until you see what happens when Fred loses the person he cares about most. In Season 2, Episode 2 of Scooby Doo Mystery Incorporated, The Night the Clown Cried 2. Tears of Doom brings back the crybaby clown for another round of emotional torture. This time, the stakes are personal because the clown doesn't just want to scare people, it wants to take them away permanently. Daphne gets abducted along with other Crystal Cove citizens, and Fred completely falls apart. The guy who's supposed to be the leader of the group can't handle the thought of losing Daphne. His usual confidence crumbles as he realizes all his trap-making skills are useless when the person he loves is in real danger. Fred's struggle with failure hits different because we've never seen him this vulnerable before. He's always been the guy with a plan, but now he's just a scared teenager who might lose his girlfriend forever. The episode explores the painful reality that sometimes caring about someone means accepting you might not be able to save them. But character kidnapping is child's play compared to what Mystery Incorporated was willing to show kids. In Season 2, Episode 15 of Scooby Doo Mystery Incorporated, the Midnight Zone crosses a line that Scooby Doo had never crossed before by actually killing off a beloved character on screen. Cassidy Williams, one of the original Mystery Incorporated members, gets brutally murdered by Professor Pericles' robotic army. This isn't a fake-out death or a last-minute save. Cassidy actually dies trying to help the gang, and her death is shown in shocking detail for a cartoon that's supposed to be family-friendly. The gang watches helplessly as someone who trusted them gets torn apart by mechanical monsters. The shock on their faces mirrors what viewers felt watching a Scooby Doo episode that actually had permanent consequences. The episode marks the moment Mystery Incorporated stopped being just another Scooby Doo series and became something much darker. Real death means real stakes, and suddenly every dangerous situation feels genuinely threatening. And if you thought one death was bad, they weren't done killing off characters. In Season 2, Episode 25 of Scooby Doo Mystery Incorporated, Through the Curtain delivers another crushing blow when Hot Dog Water sacrifices herself to protect the gang from the evil entity. This death hurts even more because it's a deliberate choice rather than a random tragedy. Hot Dog Water knows she's going to die when she makes her final stand against the cosmic horror. She accepts that sacrifice because it's the only way to give the gang a chance to stop the evil entity from destroying everything. Her last moments are spent ensuring the people she cares about have a fighting chance, even though she won't be there to see them win. The sacrifice storyline hits differently when it involves a character who started as comic relief and grew into someone genuinely heroic. Hot Dog Water's death proves that even the most unlikely characters can become heroes when the stakes are high enough, but they saved the most heartbreaking animal death for Scooby himself to witness. In Season 2, Episode 21 of Scooby Doo Mystery Incorporated, The Horrible Herd features the brutal killing of Nova, Scooby's canine companion, during Professor Pericles' assault on Crystal Cove. Watching Scooby lose a friend hits harder than any human death because we know how much animals mean to him. Nova isn't just another dog. She's someone Scooby genuinely cares about in a way that's different from his relationship with the gang. She represents the possibility that Scooby could have relationships outside of Mystery Inc., but that possibility gets violently ripped away when Pericles' mutated cattle attack Crystal Cove. The episode shows Scooby's grief in a raw, unfiltered way that most cartoons would never attempt. He doesn't just lose a friend, he loses the hope that he could build connections beyond his existing relationships. For a character who usually provides comic relief, that's an incredibly heavy emotional burden to carry. And speaking of Scooby suffering, wait until you see what happens when the whole town turns against him. In Season 1, Episode 10 of Scooby Doo Mystery Incorporated, Howl of the Fright Hound puts Scooby in a nightmare scenario where he gets blamed for attacks he didn't commit and locked up in an asylum for criminally insane animals. The episode explores what happens when fear overrides loyalty and friendship. Crystal Cove residents who've known Scooby for years suddenly see him as a monster. The dog who's helped solve countless mysteries gets treated like a dangerous criminal because people need someone to blame for their fear. Even worse, Scooby can't explain his innocence because he's just a dog trying to communicate with humans who've already made up their minds. The gang's desperation to save their friend becomes the emotional core of the episode. They know Scooby is innocent, but proving it means going against an entire town that wants someone to punish. Scooby's confusion and hurt at being rejected by people he trusted creates genuine pathos in what could have been just another monster mystery. But even as a puppy, Scooby couldn't escape heartbreak. In Season 3, Episode 7 of A Pup Named Scooby-Doo, Doggone Scooby deals with the devastating fear that your friends secretly don't want you around. Young Scooby runs away because he believes the gang would be better off without him causing problems and messing up their investigations. The episode captures that childhood anxiety of feeling like you're a burden to the people you care about most. Scooby doesn't run away because he's mad or because someone was mean to him. He leaves because he genuinely thinks his friends will be happier without him around to screw things up. What makes this particularly sad is watching the gang realize how much they need Scooby, not just for solving mysteries, but for the joy and companionship he brings to their lives. Their frantic search for him reveals how much they take his presence for granted. The episode serves as a reminder that the people we love might not realize how important they are to us unless we tell them. But sometimes the scariest episodes are the ones where death feels actually possible. In Season 1, Episode 16 of Scooby-Doo Where Are You?, A Night of Fright is No Delight traps the gang on a remote island with genuinely threatening phantoms that seem capable of actual murder. The green giggling ghosts don't feel like costumed villains. They feel like supernatural entities that could actually harm the gang. The isolation of being stuck on Phantom Shadow Island creates a sense of genuine dread that most Scooby episodes can't match. There's no easy escape, no adults to call for help, and no guarantee that anyone will find them if something goes wrong. The Phantom's constant giggling creates an atmosphere of malevolent joy that suggests they're genuinely enjoying the gang's terror. The episode works because it treats the supernatural threat as real rather than just another mystery to solve. The gang's fear feels authentic because the danger feels authentic. And if you think physical danger is bad, wait until you see what happens when they attack Fred's mind. In Season 2, Episode 11 of Scooby-Doo Mystery Incorporated, the man in the mirror subjects Fred to psychological torture by trapping him in a lonely, apocalyptic version of reality designed to break his spirit and extract information about the gang's activities. Fred finds himself completely alone in a world where everyone he cares about has disappeared. The psychological prison shows him everything he fears most, a reality where his leadership failed and his friends abandoned him. The isolation is designed to make him desperate enough to reveal secrets about Mystery Incorporated's investigation. Mental torture often feels more disturbing than physical violence because it attacks the victim's sense of self rather than just their body. Fred's psychological breakdown shows how quickly isolation and manipulation can destroy someone's confidence and sanity. But at least Fred had his memories of Daphne, unlike what happens in this next episode. In Season 1, Episode 15 of Scooby-Doo Mystery Incorporated, the Wild Brood threatens to tear Fred and Daphne apart when she gets drawn away from the gang by a charismatic biker gang leader. The episode explores the devastating fear of losing someone you love to someone who might be better for them. Fred watches helplessly as Daphne seems genuinely attracted to the biker gang leader's dangerous lifestyle and confident attitude. For the first time, Fred faces the possibility that Daphne might choose someone else over him, and that possibility terrifies him more than any monster ever could. The episode delves into romantic insecurity and jealousy in ways that most children's cartoons avoid. Fred's fear isn't just about losing Daphne, It's about the possibility that he was never good enough for her in the first place. And finally, sometimes the saddest thing isn't what happens to the heroes. In Season 1, Episode 9 of Scooby-Doo Where Are You?, the backstage rage features a villain whose motivation is heartbreakingly simple. He just wanted someone to talk to. The puppet shop owner who gets replaced by a human-sized puppet represents the ultimate expression of loneliness and social isolation. The villain isn't trying to get rich or take over the world. He's just desperately seeking companionship through his puppets. His delusion that the puppets are real friends reveals how completely cut off he is from human connection. The episode creates genuine sympathy for someone who should be frightening. What makes this villain tragic rather than scary is the realization that his crimes come from emotional pain rather than malicious intent. He's not evil, he's just profoundly lonely and has found an unhealthy way to cope with that loneliness. If you want to see more cartoon episodes that will mess you up emotionally, click that video on screen right now.